Hello, welcome to Maltbox, the non-chill filtered whisky blog. I'm Andy and this is Whisky Review number 80. What I have for you today is another Highland single malt Scotch whisky. This time it's from the Balblair distillery and it comes in the form of what's left of this sample, the 12-year-old. So that is an official sample of the 12-year-old Balblair. Now, this sample was part of a tweet tasting that I did on Twitter, so technically it is an official sample, so the usual blurb, just because an official sample has been provided does not necessarily mean that it will be getting a favourable review. Thanks for listening to that bit. Balblair. So, back in sort of like mid-2019, Balblair had a bit of a relaunch, a bit of a rebrand, because previously, let's put that bottle there, their bottlings used to come in a vintage sort of flavour, should we say, such as this. So I've got the Balblair 2000, the Balblair 90. So they've basically changed to a more kind of traditional 12, 15, 18, that kind of thing. And the 12-year-old basically replaces, I suppose, their last version would have been the 2005, is it? That kind of sort of age, so like 10, 12 years old, something like that, depending on the release. So for this is just now a 12-year-old. Now, the entire range is natural colour and non-chill filtered, which is great. I am a big fan of Balblair in general because of one of those things. That is what drew me to Balblair previously, and still does to some extent. So this particular bottling is bottled at 46%. There's the colour again. It's sort of like a light pale straw kind of colour there. So yeah, 46% non-chill filtered. This usually retails between £40 to £45 a bottle, which is kind of comparable to the previous vintage releases such as the 2005. Although I think they were just sub 40, maybe about 37, 38 quid, depending where you shopped. So we've got some tears running down the glass there. Don't know if you can see those, try and get a little bit closer. Although the autofocus is determined to try and get my face a normal shape through this glass, so I do apologise. So it's a nice thick oily spirit, you can kind of see that already, and again it's non-chill filtered, so that kind of lends itself quite well. So should we see what it's got on the nose? It is very much from the Balblair stable. If you put this in front of me, I will be able to tell you it's a Balblair because it's very creamy, it's very citrusy, it's very sort of like lemonade, there's a little bit of toffee in there, almost a tiny little wisp of smoke. Almost. And a bit similar to the Glengoyne in the previous review, there's a bit of green fruit in there. So again, some green apple and arguably some green grapes in there as well. A little bit of licorice. Digestive biscuit. It's quite malty, vanilla-y, creamy dram. So I'm just going to warm it up a little bit. It's quite cold down here today, in the basement, in the whisky den. Yeah, there's a bit of licorice in there again. There's some oak influence, you can kind of get that kind of like sort of like the smell like freshly shaved pencils. Interestingly, this was matured in a combination of ex-bourbon and ex-double-fired American oak casks. So, let's see what it's got on the palate. Nice mouthfeel. Quite oily, which is good, which I do like. Again with the citrus, very citrusy. We've got cinnamon grahams, golden graham cereal in there. We've got kind of like cornflake tart. I don't know if anybody in the States, if you are watching, knows what cornflake tart is. It's something that's quite famous for being served at school dinners here in the UK. It's basically pastry, jam, and cornflakes with honey and sugar on top, and basically they bake it. It's like a little tart with cornflakes. It's crazy, but it's really nice. It's kind of a childhood thing. You got the citrus in there. It is quite creamy again. The vanilla, sort of vanilla cream. Oh, like toffee. Again, the green fruit. Maybe an apple pie kind of thing going on with that pastry and the apple. Bit of vanilla custard. See, it's like a Sunday dinner. And then finishing off onto that finish, it's kind of like a herby. It's not herb, no. What is it? It's not herbaceous. What is it? It's sort of like almost nutmeggy maybe. Going into the finish, a little bit of spice. It's it's a nice drum. It's a nice drum. However, for me, it's a bit of a shame that Balblair stepped aside from the vintages. Don't get me wrong, I can kind of see why they might have thought that they were not quite as accessible to new drinkers maybe, that might have been a bit sort of daunted at the reading of the vintages, in the sense of not knowing what they meant, or when they were bottled, or when they were what they might represent. And this is no doubt Balblair. It's like I said at the start, you can tell it's Balblair all day long. And it's got that kind of nice sort of like high notes and the nice vanilla-y sort of element to the Balblair's quite well known for. It's just, for me, it's not quite up to the same spec as my last few bottles of the vintage releases of the equivalent age. Like I said, I think I've already mentioned the 2005. I really enjoyed that one, and the previous one to that, which I think was the 2003 or the 2002. I can't quite remember now. But it's still very well presented. It's still natural colour, keep it that way. Non-chill filtered, definitely keep it that way. And bottled at 46%. It's priced pretty well. It's pretty average in the market. A 12-year-old for like 40 quid. That's kind of the stage that we're at now, guys. Really, in this current market. I mean, I think I mentioned in a previous review, like 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit less even, you'd be looking at maybe 30-35 quid for a 12-year-old, depending on where you were looking and what distilleries you were looking at. Don't get me wrong, Balblair is kind of a bit of a whiskey geek distillery, isn't it? It's not the first thing that someone's going to go for if they're new to drinking whiskey, because they're not necessarily going to know much about Balblair. I think it's one of those distilleries you come across over a period of time. So for me, the Balblair 12-year-old, I'm going to give this a score of 5.5 out of 10, so that's 5.5 out of 10. It's still a very nice dram, still very well made, with some really good qualities to it. It's just, for me, it's not quite got enough about it to warrant a higher score. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. See you soon.